when she looked up from her toys one day and said, "I used to be married. My husband shot me in the back. Should I shot him back?" Hi guys, welcome back to the Quora Zone. Today we'll be reading was something spine-chilling that a child said to you. Our first post is from Amanda Villeneuve. My husband had a son before we met. He passed away at 2.5 weeks old. When my oldest child was about 4, she started playing with an imaginary friend. I asked her one day if her friend had a name. She said his name was Liam. I immediately got chills. She then proceeded to tell me that his daddy was her daddy too. I could not speak. I just smiled and let her continue playing. I thought that maybe she heard her father's name and me talking about him one day and she was imagining it. Fast forward a few weeks later, we went to the cemetery to visit Liam. When we first crossed the gates, she got very happy and said, "Follow me." Keep in mind, this was her first time there, and she didn't know where we were, so we followed. And she led us right to Liam's grave and said, "This is where Liam is." She sat right down and started talking to him. Her dad and I were creeped right out. Update. To all those who have asked, no, she lost the ability as she got older, as most kids do. She doesn't remember the experience though. Our next post is from Nancy Olson. My youngest daughter, Nessa, was born in March of 1994. She was a precocious child, charming and intelligent. She was very outgoing and was constantly talking, so it wasn't a surprise to anyone that she had imaginary friends. Nessa's favourite imaginary friend was named Henry, and I always just assumed she had named him after my dead brother Henry. Now, Henry had died in June of 1994, but had been the closest in age to me, and so many of my stories to my children featured Henry. It made sense to me then that Henry would show up in Nessa's imagination, especially since her 2 older sisters had been 10 and 8 when Henry died, and so they too had stories about Henry they shared with Nessa. One day, when Nessa was 4, she was happily playing with Henry and was having a tea party with all her stuffed animals, when she suddenly stopped, burst into tears and climbed on my lap. "What's the matter, honey? Tonya is hurt. Henry went to help her, but I'm scared." "I'm sure Tonya is okay, and it isn't nice for Henry to scare you. Tell Henry if he's going to scare you, he can't play with you anymore." "Mum, he isn't here. He went to help Tonya. Henry said she needs him so she can wake up. I'm scared, Mum. I'm scared." "Now, honey, Tonya is in school. I'm sure she is fine. Let me get you something to drink and some cookies, okay? You can have a real tea party, and I'm sure Henry will come back when he sees you have cookies." I just made it into the kitchen to grab a couple of cookies when the phone rang. "Is Tonya's mum there?" "Yes, this is Tonya's mum. We need you to come to the school. Tonya fell off the monkey bars and split her lip wide open. She's going to need stitches." "I'll be right there." I get Nessa and I drive quickly to the school. Entering the nurse's office, I see my poor middle child with the biggest split lip I've ever seen and a giant bump on her forehead. It takes several hours in the emergency room, quite a few stitches, an x-ray and concussion warnings before we all make it home. After dinner, I'm talking to Tonya, mainly to keep her awake. "Mum," Tonya says, "I saw Uncle Henry after I fell today. He told me I had to wake up. I didn't want to wake up, but Henry said I had to or he would pull my hair. I didn't want him to pull my hair. So I opened my eyes. I know it was just a dream while I was unconscious, but it was so real. I didn't want to scare Tonya, so I said nothing about what her little sister had said to me earlier in the day. Instead, I told Tonya I was sure it was just a dream because by hitting her head so hard. I don't know which conversation was more chilling, the one with Nessa that proved to be true, or one with Tonya where she said Henry helping her wake up, thus confirming Nessa's story. What do you think?" Oh, I would definitely say probably the story where it's more of just both, because Nessa saying, that Henry's gone, and then Tonya saying she saw Uncle Henry. Oh, I was probably saying like more Tonya saw Uncle Henry because she's actually stating that it was Uncle Henry. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Our next post is from Cheryl Dwyer. My daughter was very little, maybe 2 to 3, when she looked up from her toys one day and said, "I used to be married. My husband shot me in the back. Should I shot him back?" I was intrigued, so I asked her where to show me she had been shot. She pointed to a small area just below her right shoulder blade. I asked if it hurt when she was shot. She said, "No, but I got real tired, and then I was here with you." We asked her where she heard such a thing, and she insisted that it was true. Funny thing, she had a birthmark in that area, as she pointed out, We had never discussed it with her. She told us this several times during her childhood, gradually forgetting it, but I sure remember it. I have a birthmark under my nose. So did I get shot there? Crazy thing as well is that my mum has a birthmark, this red one, back of her head. My sister also has one on the back of her head. I think I have one as well. So if that is a true thing about birthmarks, I just get like mutilated in the face and the back of my head. Our next post is from Caroline Gell. When my son was 4, I became pregnant for a second time. I had just discovered a terrible secret about my husband and was terrified about bringing another child into the family. I had no real plan on how to resolve my situation, so I hid the pregnancy for 4 months. Very sadly, and perhaps due to stress, I miscarried. During the time that I was pregnant, I had many quiet conversations with the baby, convinced it was a boy. I called him Luke. Fast forward several months, and my son has a new best friend. Met him in the park, and they had many of the same interests, and even looked alike. The only problem was this friend was an invisible friend, named Luke, who, according to my son, just wants to be his brother. Gives me chills just remembering it. Our next post is from Elizabeth Martinez. When my daughter was younger, she once told me of this man named Tyrone that was sitting on her bed in a black suit and tie and asked if she had Kool-Aid and cookies. She said she went to the bathroom and when she came back, he was gone. She wanted to know where he went. The description was my brother that had passed away when I was 5 years old. He was 34 when he had passed, and he wore a black suit and tie when he was lying in his coffin. We shared Kool-Aid and cookies when he would come over to visit. It wasn't chilling to me at all. I'm thrilled to know that my brother stopped in to see my daughter. Our next post is from SLP01. When my son was 2 years old, I had taken him in the middle of the night to the toilets. On the way back to his bedroom, and before I switched off the lights, he stopped and appeared to be looking at something towards the ceiling in the living room. I looked up and saw nothing. I asked him what he was looking at, and his exact words were, "The man. See the man there, Mummy?" I replied, "No." He then went on to describe him as tall with no hair, a hat, and wearing a very long black coat. I never gave it much thought as he would mention what I believed to be an imaginary friend a number of times. Fast forward 4 years later, I had my second child, a girl, who at just the time just turned 2 years old, was quietly playing nearby the living area. Suddenly, she goes very quiet, and so I popped my head around to see what she was up to. I found her looking up towards the ceilings, just staring at what I could see as nothing. I ask her, "What are you looking at?" While pointing at the ceiling, she says, "The man, Mummy." At that point, I recall my son saying the same thing at the exact same age. I ask her, "What does he look like?" Her reply was no hair, a hat, and a long black coat. I couldn't believe it. It was the exact description my son gave me when he was 2 years old. I told my husband about this, and he tells me that his grandfather died of a heart attack when he was 2 years old. The last thing his grandfather did before he died from a sudden heart attack was kiss him on the head. He was a farmer, and so he always wore this very long black coat and a hat, and lost his hair at a young age. My children are teenagers now, and neither of them remember any of it. Our next post is from Artis. My 7-year-old's classmate was over at our house. She wanted to use our bathroom on the main floor. I heard her calling my daughter into the bathroom. I knocked on the door and they both came out. My kid says to me, "Angela doesn't want to go into this bathroom." I asked, "Why?" She says, "Because the lady is in there." I calmly asked them, "What lady?" She points to the empty bathroom and says, "The grey lady, right there." I tell the girls to go watch TV, and I go into the bathroom and close the door and say, "Dorothy, I know that's you in here. You're always welcome here, just don't scare the children." So before we bought our house, a 92-year-old lady named Dorothy had lived in it for years alone. She loved the neighborhood and was loved by everyone on the street. She'd sit outside on the porch and greet everyone who walked by with a hello and a smile. The neighbors even threw her a party for her 90th birthday. Her 2 sons then visited her, moved her into a long retirement facility, renovated the house, and we bought it. Within a month of moving, she passed away. I figured it was her in the bathroom. She hasn't been seen or heard of since I spoke to her. The spirit is kind, so I'm not afraid, and I've told the kids to have no fear. I hope Dorothy's soul will rest at some point. Alright guys, that is all from the Quora Zone today. I hope you guys enjoyed these stories of what was something spine-chilling that a child said to you. Once again, guys, let me know if you have any more similar stories like this in the comments below, or you can put it in my email, which I can then post. And if you guys want to keep supporting me and keep getting these videos posted, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.